What's happening, y'all? It's your man Valentine, baby. Come here, on the grind. It's the home edition, man. Hey, today I had to bring it back indoors, y'all, because you know what? The Van City weather, man, changed on a dime. Can you feel me? So, hopefully tomorrow we get outside for some Canada Day. And we see how it goes down. Now, the yesterday, you know what, we talked about systemic racism all over the place, man. And I know that, I think it was last week, that I think they had a First Ministers Conference with Trudeau and every premier, not premier, yeah, I think premier, right? And all the, I guess all the premiers, they're all ministers, so they had a ministers conference. And I don't know how you get to where it's just one term. There's not two. And they couldn't agree on whether to call systemic racism or systemic discrimination. You know what? It's been systemic racism for I don't know how long. So for all the people or all the ministers who can't decide whether or not to call it systemic racism or systemic discrimination, I mean, come on, man, give your head a shake. You know what I mean? You haven't heard anybody say systemic discrimination. You've heard everybody say systemic racism. So call it as it is. You feel me? And so I just don't understand where they're going with that. And it's either some of these people don't believe in what it is and they're trying to change the name. You know what? It doesn't sound good either way. So just let it be at systemic racism, and that's what it is. You know what I mean? Because that's what we gonna call it. Now, and the again I have to go with I'm gonna go with this first, because I know that in Montreal, I think there might be nine black officers that are, I don't know, maybe hopefully there's more than nine, but they're going to the union to say that they're talking about systemic racism in the Montreal PD. And 9 officers saying there's systemic racism in a police department. Now, and we come back to Van City, where we have, I don't know why I love coming back to this dude, Deputy Chief Chow, who's saying that there's no systemic racism in the VPD. And he's been in for over 35 years, and he hasn't seen it. And I believe that this dude has either been living under a rock, or I don't get it. Because, no, I'm just gonna give you another example, because it just seems to me that I have to keep giving these examples, because somehow, hopefully, that they'll see this and say, yeah, you know what? Maybe there is. Maybe we have to start looking at ourselves to make sure that we can get some change and do some police reforms and do some anti-racism training. That might be something worth looking into, instead of all the training that you've done, that you say you've done. So now, again, I call this mistaken identity, because the day I was coming home late from work one night, and again I was driving a nice car again, and somehow it's this time it was a lady officer that was pulling me over. So again, I'm going home, I'm on the road, and I didn't see nothing, so I'm going and I'm good. I'm not speeding. So I'm doing my thing. Next thing I know, all of a sudden, I see lights pop up behind me. And I'm like, oh. Instantaneously, I'm thinking, okay, dang, what did I do? And I'm like, oh, okay. And again, what do? I stick my hands out the window, yo. And she rose up, and I said, with my hands out the window, I said, what did I do wrong? And she said, you fit the description. And I was like, what description? And she was like, well, you fit the description of a person that just robbed a bank or something like this, or robbed a one of those TD, what do you call them? What do you call them things, man? ATMs. There you go. Can't remember. I can't remember an ATM. So, and I was like, you know, man, what time is it? And it was late. It was like, I think it was probably about 10. So the ATM was robbed by some dude. And I was like, what does this person look like? And she said, well, you fit the description. I said, what's the description? And she wouldn't actually tell me the description. But then she took my license and registration and went back to the call, and then came back and gave me my stuff, and then didn't even say, oh, I'm sorry, you're not even the wrong person. And then it was like, because in the same token, I heard it coming over the radio, because she has a radio on her shoulder, and I heard it come over the radio saying, oh, we've caught the person who just robbed the ATM. And I was like, and you see what I'm saying? The person was a black male, but guess what? The dude had dreads. Guess what I had? No hair. You see what I'm saying? So either there's something going wrong, or we all fit the description. You see what I'm saying? And so not all black people look alike. This is what I'm saying. So I didn't fit the description of this man who was 6 feet with dreads. So this is what I'm saying. That, you know, the deputy chief needs to rethink what he's saying, man. Because we know that there is systemic racism. And there is just no way you can go past this. It's a joke. And this is what I'm saying. The dude must be living under a rock for him not to notice. Or he's never been in a black person's shoes and never been pulled over. Because, hey, all his life he must have been good. You know what? There are many black people out there who haven't done nothing. You know what I mean? And yet we still get pulled over. So this man cannot tell me that for 34 years, he ain't never had nothing, he ain't never done nothing wrong. So I just don't get it, man. You know, it doesn't matter that we are black or the indigenous people. We shouldn't have to worry about when the police come behind you. Hey, listen, when the police car comes behind me, you know what? I'm tensing up on the steering wheel. Because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know, either they're going to put their lights on and pull me over for nothing. You know what I mean? Or they'll just drive by and give me that look. Which, I'm like, there's no reason for that either. Because I'm not doing nothing wrong. I'm minding my own business. So, as I'm saying, black people, man, we hurt every single day. And anytime we leave our house, we could be a target. So, anytime you leave your house, you know what I mean? You got to pray. And pray that you come home safely. It doesn't matter if you dark skin, light skin, whatever it is, because you are a target. Because they will not see nothing else. They will see the color of your skin first. And that's what will happen. You feel what I'm saying? So you guys, anytime, it doesn't, even boy or girl, male or female, you need to be careful when you go outside. Because the key thing is you always want to get home safely. And when you get home safely, you know what? Your parents are praying that you get home safely. So they pray and thank God that you come home safely. Because there are times that we don't know. You feel what I'm saying? So there's systemic racism in the VPD. There's systemic racism in the city of Vancouver. You know what I mean? There's systemic racism in the Parks Board. Because I'm living proof of it. So, I don't know, man. You know what? Each and every time I come out and I say and I start talking, and I hope that it can bring hope to some other people. That we can stop the brutality. We can stop the George Floyds from happening. The Rayshard Brooks. The Tamir Rice. Hope I said his name right. The Ahmaud Arbery's. All these people. You see what I'm saying? That we can hope that it doesn't continue happening. And if the police need to get police reform, they need to do something. That the indigenous girl that got shot because of mental health, that shouldn't happen. We need something else. There has to be another way. And I know my man, I think Mr. Al Arsenault, he's a retired officer doing the police judo, the new tactics where you can arrest somebody without actually beating them down. Hey, you know what? I think that's a good idea. And I think people, it should go around and make sure that everybody knows that this is what you're going to do and start practicing it. Because if you cannot talk somebody down, this is your de-escalation skills that you're supposed to be working on. So you have to be able to not beat the person down or pick them up and body slam them, choke them, put your knee on their neck. You feel what I'm saying? So there has to be something else, man. And before we can do that, we have to say and come clean and say that there is systemic racism. Don't lie about it, man, because we know there is. You just have to accept that there is, because we're telling you that there is. And the key thing is you need to listen. You know what I mean? That's the key. We want to sit at the table. We want to be equal. That is what we want. And truly, at jobs, and I'm going to say Parks Board, city, all the employees through the city, listen, you need to start looking at getting black people or indigenous people, anybody of color, to be sitting on the table so people can see that there's some growth. You feel me? This is what we have to do, man. So you have to start believing and accept that we are telling you the truth. Systemic racism lives, and it lives in Van City, and it's all over the city. And we need to start listening to people and shut it down. Man, I think I'm through. I'm going to let this roll.